Welcome everybody to the Destiny Dugout. I'm your host Cruz, member of the 3-time World's First Team from Elysium, and this is what we've got going on this episode. Hopefully you enjoy listening, and let us know what you think in the comment section. Now without further ado, let's get this thing started.
For me, this has been happening since Beyond Light, like almost Forsaken.
I mean, data mine
It's been happening since
has
D1
existed forever. You know, that's just part of.
I think Jinzer was the one doing it in D1, right?
He still has a.
I think he came back. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw something because I follow him just so I'm in the know. But
this has been happening since D1, and I feel like I'm not gonna lie. Every time it's like the people kind of overreact a little bit more and more. It's like, look, you don't want to see spoilers. It's just literally like a movie, okay? Like movie spoilers get posted all the time. You don't want to see it, then unfortunately you have to avoid a lot of, common and big social media for a bit. Right? But usually people are pretty good about keeping it from accidentally showing up in your feed. Right? Like if you're in a Discord where people don't care and they're posting in it, you're probably going to get hit by one, but then now so then you just don't look at that Discord for a while, right? For like a day. And I don't know, I just feel like it's blown a little out of proportion, because again, this has been happening since D1. Like this is not a surprise. Once we get into Lightfall, I would not be surprised if people oob into the raid. Even more spoilers. Like it wouldn't shock me at all. So I don't know. It's like if you don't want to see it, then I don't know, just don't watch the people streaming the oobing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's all sort of just like being around places that are just like susceptible to it. It's like you're on Twitter and Discord, like 6-mention, channel. If you have a problem getting away from Twitter or Discord for a couple days, you got bigger issues than spoilers. I mean, yeah, it's not too hard to say to yourself, hey, I know this is gonna be coming up. Maybe like you said, oh, I open up Twitter, there's something that pops up. Okay, maybe I just avoid it for the next little bit. At the end of the day, I think we can all survive like a week without Twitter, or I don't know.
Yeah, you can even go into your Twitter
Discords
and you can mute the word Destiny and Lightfall.
Yeah.
And then you're clean.
Especially
Lightfall, you will be completely
raid,
clean.
Secret, data mine. You cover yourself pretty easily if you just
it just takes effort, right? The effort that people are going through to post these and then to find them, the same effort can be done to avoid them, right? Like it's not like the end all be all. Like just because people are posting these things isn't like the expansion's ruined. It's like just like they didn't these things didn't just show up out of nowhere. Like there was effort put into it, so then you put effort to get away from it. Like I don't know, it just seems so like cut and dry. Like me personally, I don't care about spoilers. I think it's cool. Like I'm gonna look at it anyways. Like it's gonna happen whether it be tomorrow or in a week from now.
I've more gotten used to is that idea that I'm gonna see this tomorrow. I'm gonna see something in 2 days. Is it really gonna affect me that much? Like once upon a time, I didn't even ever look at the soundtrack because I want to experience them in game. I've actually found that listening to this one the last few days has actually gotten me more hyped to hear it in the game.
Absolutely.
And ultimately, like why I always avoided it is because I wanted that experience to feel good. But I mean, in this case, like I do have that. I do feel like my experience is gonna be I don't know, like I'm hyped to hear that some of these tracks I love. And I'm gonna hear them tomorrow in the campaign. It's gonna be like, oh, this is where it is. Yeah, let's fucking go. I love this song.
Exactly.
So
100%.
I treat the data mine stuff pretty similarly, just to like a varying degree, because I think as the more impactful the data mines can become, the more of a letdown they might be. But again, that's on me to make sure that I don't look into that stuff. Whereas, at least until, for me, it's like always like once Lightfall hits, then I'll expose myself to it. But I gotta get that day one feeling fresh, excited, enjoying what I want to, and then kind of diving in from there. Everyone's different. Some people, don't want to get that, but
and it's completely okay. Like it's not everybody can win at all times, like, ever. Like,
Mhm.
it's this shit happens. Things can happen. Like, just honestly, like, I don't know. I feel like some people are making a huge stink about it. Like, I've seen some people on Twitter, like, if you post spoilers, I'm gonna block you, and like, so they make a big stink about it. It's like, dude, just if they post a spoiler, just mute them. Literally, just mute their account or block them. Whatever floats your boat. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. Done.
Vandal loves muting people, even in Discord
Oh,
servers. Like
100%.
their voice gone.
I have a clanmate. I have a clanmate that I've had muted for 2 months.
You just can't stand them.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cal.
Yeah, Cal. This is on recording now. You will never be unmuted.
Oh,
And
damn.
Numley accidentally mistook me for Cal earlier. I'll send you that screenshot.
No.
And so now I'm no longer friends with Numley.
No,
Yeah.
Numley.
Unlucky for Numley.
No, Numley's a good guy. He didn't deserve
He
that.
is. He is. He was. He was a good guy.
But he made one mistake, and that's it. He
That's
crossed
it.
the
You're
line.
done. It's over.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. It's like sorry to dip into a little bit of philosophy here. It's like when you're driving and someone cuts you off, do you make it your mission to like cut them off or make them feel some kind of like get your revenge, or feel like you're giving some kind of justice? It's like they cut you off, just like, I don't know, break first of all, a little bit of braking so you don't hit them, and then just be like, I'm never gonna see this person again.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
like I'm never gonna experience this person again. You know what? They probably have somewhere to be, clearly, because they're driving like POS. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
I saw somebody driving home from school that made like the death sentence cut between a semi and another car in the left lane, and he just decided to go for it. And I was like, oh my god, I thought he literally was about to die. But there's people like that.
and for me, like, when that happens to me, I just go, all right, and then I just kind of back up a little bit, and then just, that's it. It's done. The encounter's over. Like, I don't need, this guy doesn't need to feel my wrath. Like, you cut me off, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna show you. Like,
take a breath.
Who cares? Literally, I just want to get home. Like, I literally, like, I don't want to get into an accident with this guy and like have to deal with the fact that my car gets in, damn. I don't deal with any of that. I just want to get home. Okay, so if that means this guy cuts me off a little bit, whatever. Literally whatever. So I don't know. It's just, I feel like there's just some big overreactions and with the spoilers and just things in general, and it's just, I don't know, it's insane to me how people live like that. They're so stressed, like full of anxiety and all this other stuff. It's like, Jesus, man, chill.
They're the type of like people who, if they were cats, they'd always be like freaking hair standing up, and
exactly.
They can't rest. They can't get comfortable.
Like, I refuse to believe that most of these people, I think some of them are like my age, and I'm just like, that's insane.
They can be
because like I grew up, I grew up with the internet, right? But I also grew up without the internet, right? So like, back then I didn't have all this like mass information to like cloud my mind in a way, whereas now it's like you're plugged in, man. If you're not plugged in, you're in a whole different world.
Vandal6 thinks you're 30. Chat.
30? I remember when I was 30. Those are the good old days.
Up it by like a couple decades.
I turned 30 in 2001.
Nice.
So you do the math.
Gotta add.
Yeah, sorry, that was my little dosage of philosophy.
I couldn't even math it anyway, so don't worry about it. I was literally thinking, I'm like, you know what? No, I just came back from a class from that. Yeah, I'm good. This is be a late intro. We're not gonna have that be cut out or anything. That'll be the full intro that goes up on YouTube. But welcome to episode 14. This is a day before Lightfall. We got one last little patch notes to cover because we got all the basically update 7 is coming to the game, and there are a few more things that are in there that we didn't know about before. So we'll kind of go through all of that stuff and share our thoughts. This is our first live one as well, so if we mention something in the chat, I'll try to like read out the name and see what it is, and we might have a bit of a discussion from there as well. Yeah, How's it going, Vandal? I know we were talking already, but
Yeah,
gotta do the normal
it's
intro.
it's going. Ran
It's
about
going.
10 red lights to get here, so
It's
we're
good.
here. We're live. We're doing it. It's dugout time.
Dugout. Let's come chill in the dugout. I love calling the server the dugout. I've been
That's
doing
cool.
that. It's
That's
actually really
cool.
nice. It's like, yeah, so like there's a post in the dugout. It's like, oh,
It just flows.
that
It flows
flows,
so
man.
nice.
That's so nice. That's good. Ant said, yo, what's up, Chris, a while ago. I read that, but I was letting Vandal do his spiel. What's up, dude? Thanks for coming in. Do you want to talk about like a real quick thing from Six? He talked about, or he asked if we could talk about the hate that
Oh yeah.
us guys,
Yeah.
aka the world's first team, get.
This typically happens and this has happened throughout esports and even just sports. I mean, both of us could speak to esports, and I know Cruz can speak to sports. When you have a team that is just dominating and they are just what seems like leagues ahead, like just there's nobody even close. It's not a matter of like they hate that you're winning. They just hate that no one else can. Right? So it's like almost a de facto. It's like you're waiting for Christmas every year, but you know Christmas you're gonna get the same present. But it's still a present, but you're gonna get the same thing, right? Which in turn ends up feeling like it sucks. But in reality, you're still getting a present, right? So it's like seeing the same team just win over and over again. It people tended like their natural reaction isn't to be like, man, they're so good. These guys are just insane. Their natural reaction is, man, I kind of wish someone else would win. And then not to mention, Salt doesn't make it any easier when he just goes on Twitter every 2 seconds, replying to literally anybody and everyone, which he
Yeah.
has way too much resolve for that.
I don't know how he does it.
And he's calling for these balance changes, which we don't entirely disagree with. I mean, some of the things he says is like, but for the most part, he's usually pretty right. And, he's essentially just battling it out with the casual player base, even though they don't realize that he's advocating for things for them too. He's not just advocating for us, he's advocating for both, and that comboed with the fact that you guys won and not also the fact that, we didn't have a lot of raids for a good while, and now we're getting 2 a year. All of this combined just makes it easier for essentially people to just be like, you guys are too good. I want to see someone else win. And they're probably thinking of Dado. I mean, maybe not now. But...
Oh my god, of course they won't want Dado. I mean, they've wanted Dado to win since like, I would say like Crown. It's probably like since then. It's like, oh, after that and Wish, oh, he definitely, deserves to win that. But like, man, I don't know. Yeah, people don't like seeing the same people win. There's a point where, like, I mean, literally, Cosmo called us the underdogs at one point, and now all of a sudden, like, it leapfrogged from underdogs to and nobody knowing us to a small selection of people knowing us, and a bunch of people not liking the fact that we just win these, and we're speedrunners and whatever, and we played with a cheater, and it's all these things are just so out of pocket. It's like they don't know what they're really talking about. They don't really know us as people or anything like that. It just is what it is.
I think a lot of it has to do with respect, right? Because when you look at teams like, I know you watched CS during the Astralis era, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Astralis
was winning everything.
Astralis climbed to the top almost instantly, and they stayed there for 3-4 majors or something in a row. And it wasn't even close. Like they were actually leagues ahead of everybody. Like it was absurd. But over time, people grew to respect them because of their capabilities and because of their teamwork and because of the way that they held themselves, right? They didn't intentionally BM anybody. They didn't do anything crazy like that. And so all you had left was to respect them because there was almost really nothing to hate them for. But with the Destiny community, because of how volatile it is, I mean, you say one wrong thing and all of a sudden everybody's posting on Twitter about how, well, Cruz lifts weights, and so that means if you don't lift weights, then Cruz doesn't want to run strikes with you. Like they just connect some crazy dots, and it's like, what are you even talking about? Like you're insane, and they do this as I don't know. I couldn't even tell you exactly why they do it, but it's happening, and until they for one, I mean, we got a comment on the interview we did with Salt where he said like, "Wow, Salt's actually a normal guy." It's like, yeah, he's normal. So is Cruz. So is everybody on that team. Maybe not Moople,
Maybe
but
not Moople. He's a little
everybody on that
strange.
team is really normal and really easy to talk to. Usually, like, you know, and it's just it's I don't know.
Right.
They have this idea of your
Compared
team.
to the rest of like the end game community, we are diamonds in the rough. No, I'm not trying to, be too
Let-
full of the
I'll say
clan
it.
and stuff like that,
Listen,
but it is
I'll
what it
say it.
is.
You
Like
don't have
we
to say it.
are.
I'll say it. There's some real scumbags out there in those other clans. All right, yeah, they can come at me for saying it. Okay, and we're nothing compared to them. Like
Yeah,
we try to be mature
we are
adults
genuinely
living
nice
in the
people.
world. Yes, we try to be mature adults living in the world that we're all living in together. Okay, and there's a bunch of other clans of really good players that are the exact opposite, and they just will literally do anything to make you and themselves miserable because that is how they live their life. It's insane. So I mean, I know our clan server isn't public, but if it was, it wouldn't be that crazy, honestly. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we're just think of your group of friends, all right? And if your group of friends involves doing some weird, insano stuff, then don't think of us as that. But
Yeah, don't think of
we're
that group
we're
of friends. Think of your other group of friends. That's more
we're
normal.
just yeah, we're just like just normal people, just living it day by day. Like it's not anything insane. Like some people in the clan have more time than others, but it's not like a huge deal. Like it's not we all have lives and we're all doing things and most of us have known each other for years at this point.
I know, right? That's also the crazy part is that like
Yeah.
that friendship has existed for a long time, and it's just in the Evan video where we were talking about kind of land infrastructure and stuff like that. We all sort of designed the whole system and kind of narrowed it down to who we wanted it to be, and we always wanted to just be like a group of friends who are all mature and reasonable with each other, and like that's no different than how we are together in person or even on like Twitter or anything like that. Like Salt defends himself and is in the trenches, but that is on his accord. That's his choice.
Yeah.
And
That's his
yeah,
battle.
most of us agree with what he is, but we just know that like, bro, I don't have the patience to. There's a few of them that I've like viewed my posts that maybe I have to like argue some points, but at the end of the day, it's just like, why am I trying to convince you one person, that my insignificant opinion in the grand scheme of the game design is the right thing? Like, who cares at the end of the day? It's not that big enough deal for me to go beyond just trying to say what I think would be good or what isn't good.
And I think that's an important distinction, right? Because Salt says something, and if you disagree with Salt, some people make it their like life's mission to like just keep attacking Salt or like bring down Salt, right? And then Salt in return doesn't even remember who you are. Okay, like that's just the reality of it, and that's
Yeah.
just how it should be, right? You 100% are able to disagree with someone, and then just leave it at that. Like that's it. Like if Cruz says, "Oh, I love doing strikes," and I go, "I love doing Gambit," and he's like, "I think Gambit sucks." Okay, I just won't play Gambit with you. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with disagreeing, and I feel that's just like not possible nowadays. Like Salt has his opinions. People can go like, "Oh, well, I disagree because I think this reason," and then Salt, you know, knowing Salt, he won't let it go, but he gives his like rebuttal, and you just go, "Okay, I agree to disagree." Just leave it at that. Literally, that's fine. Because at the end of the day, Salt isn't the one like telling Bungie what to do. Bungie, believe me.
Even though people think that, that's insane to think.
Yeah, believe me, Bungie does not listen to content creators. Okay, as much as we wish that they would, as much as we wish that they would listen to our favorite content creators, the people that fight for the things we believe in, they do not. Okay, they absolutely do not. Bungie has an agenda. All right, they look at things, but they absolutely know what they want to do, and it may not be what we think is the smart thing to do, but it doesn't matter to them. It's what they're gonna do, right? And I tell this to people, like, you are playing Bungie's game. If you don't like it, stop playing. And if you're okay with the changes they make and you can like still find enjoyment, keep playing. You know, I just don't I don't know, I just don't understand the people making their lives entirely based around just hating Destiny 2. Like, holy moly, dude. If that's like all that plagues your brain, I'm sorry. Like, I'm genuinely sorry for you. You know, like hearing people that are like, "Oh, I just can't wait to get off the game," and I'm like, what do you mean? Just get off the game then. Like, I don't understand that thought process. Like, just don't play. I don't know. If you don't like it, don't play. And if you feel obligated to play, then there's the bigger issue at play here, right? Like, that's something entirely different.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, if you don't like the new changes coming, then don't play. But if you like Destiny enough to play them, then play through it.
Exactly.
That's my transition into our article.
Right, yeah, rant over.
Topic. Yeah. So yeah, like I said a little bit ago, we did get all like the patch notes. A lot of this stuff I would say like we did know. I'd say probably like 80% or more. But it doesn't hurt to go through and kind of refresh ourselves because there is so much, you know, coming. It's funny to think that this post is only as big as it is because there were, I don't know, like 8 articles over the last 2 months basically talking about all these different systems coming. Yeah. So you ready to just go through it? Knock them out?
Sure. I mean, you want to start the Crucible one or you want to skip that?
Yeah. Well, I'll just read through it. Activities, so this will be honestly not that big. Add exotic armor swap penalty to trials competitive division, which basically means that you're punished for swapping and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, when I read, I think it was after in that post, they said that they don't have any plans to put in PvE because everything that could use it already has lockout. And I'm like, no, every like raid should have that. Like, that would limit swapping.
Yeah, it would.
Like, weapon swapping is like,
I mean,
really
but at that point,
good.
why not just lock loadouts then?
Because each wipe you should be able to change how you then play.
Oh, that goes back to our theory of placing, when you place the flag and like the encounter starts, it locks. When the encounter starts, you should lock.
Yeah, I think that would be a great change because then you can go in day one. We're trying to figure out, we're gonna have this general loadout on. Okay, boss damage, we'll try to figure out what we need. This guy has a big crit and he's really close to us, so maybe we're not gonna use rockets. We use, I don't know, whatever. Rockets the only thing we want to use anyway because everything else sucks. But yeah, and then just like, okay, that didn't work, I'm gonna now switch to solar because I think that'll be like a better option going forward in this type of thing. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
that would be a great change. TLDR said it made me sad that they said that locking loadouts is the equivalent, and I'm like, no, it's not. I think you should still be able to swap, but having a penalty like that or locking it per encounter try would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you should never be incentivized to just like, I don't know, mid encounter just start swapping everything, including weapons. Like, that should never be, in my opinion, the what you're looking for, or like that should never be like the top of the list in terms of strats, which it is right now and it has been for a while. So
don't really care about this stuff. Sorry, everyone else.
I don't need to talk about the strike stuff.
Yeah, whatever.
This stuff is, we can go past this.
Hero activity levels now soft cap, legends power cap plus 40. Okay. The overcharge system. We actually, to be honest, we didn't really talk about overcharge and surge. The fact that, I'll just do a quick thing on it, the fact that I would say most of the sandbox will be integrated into that system makes it okay to me, even though I don't necessarily like solar just being better than arc just because reasons. But like I said, because most of the game, it's all your champ mods, the seasonal elements. Like, so we have the 3 coming in Lightfall, Void, Solar, and Strand. It's like all those weapons combined, all of the champ mods. That's most of the weapons in the game. So I think it's okay because it's not limiting everything. It's just some things.
Yeah. The raids and dungeons, that's an important one right
This
here.
one's good. Yeah, so it's funny, Quaz posted in our channel or in our server about how, oh, is duality gonna get better farms, stuff like that. I don't think so personally. I know they included it here, but really what I think that means is Grasp and Spire is gonna drop with the high stats that duality already has. Does that make sense?
Which is good. Yeah, which means you're probably still gonna mainly farm in duality weeks, but now
Yeah,
it's
quick.
somewhat worth it to farm the other ones. I mean, Grasp, I feel like with Grasp, because
Grasp
of the
can be quick too.
Yeah, because if you do the moat thing right, like you can spam supers to like get through it, kill that shank, and just like blast that boss. I mean, it might take a little stratting because that guy's really chunky. Inspired probably be probably the second easiest because you can just rocket galley spam.
Yeah, simple, but like the you know, you're still gonna have to go through a lot of different phases, but at least those phases are really quick, which is, to be honest, one thing that all these dungeons kind of have in common. Their final bosses can be done really quick.
Especially with 3
Yeah.
people. Oh man, you can fly through that.
Duality is probably the slowest, which is crazy to think, considering how fast it is to get to damage. It's just the fact that it's so easy to one phaser compared to like Grasp and Spire. You're not one phasing either of those unless
you're getting to the phases faster,
buffs.
but you're not killing the boss in one phase typically, right?
Yeah.
Whereas duality, you're getting to the damage a little bit slower, but then you're one phasing Kaido like every time.
And then that one phase is 3 minutes faster than what you could do in Grasp. So
yeah.
Lightfall title screen, I showed that a little earlier when we were talking. Looks pretty cool. You know, I mean, they always do.
This is all stuff that's you're gonna
ranked.
I feel like you're gonna discover this on your own.
Seals are no longer broken into seals and titles. Who even knew that they were? I did. I was like, what? I just looked at the list.
What is the post game carnage report? I never actually looked at this.
I think it's stuff to do with the accommodations. Yeah. So basically, you know that screen when it was all those guardians, and then you can like flick through.
There was a button on the top right.
I want to give you
the results, right?
Yeah. So you can go to that screen, and it's like, I want to give you a thumbs up because you're a good leader.
Yeah.
So now you can go do that.
I encourage it. Like anytime games have commendations, I typically almost always do it. You know, I just kind of give it out to people. To me,
Overwatch system as long as, and old CS:GO system. I mean, they worked at least when I played them. So
I mean, the way I see it, as long as someone isn't like literally AFK or just like hard griefing or just like pushing you around. I mean, you can't die to physics now, I guess, but as long as they're not just trolling you and just making your life harder, and they're just like playing and like it looks like they're actively trying, why not shoot them accommodation? Who cares? You know, like
yeah.
Norm.
Day one, we're all gonna be in each other's friend groups, just being like, give me 3 more of these. I need to rank up.
And next one, can you give me a leader? My leader's the lowest score right now.
Yeah, my guided games rank is gonna be really low. They're not gonna give me good matches. Yeah, and that'll also, what we assume at least is that it'll also be damage after a raid boss, because that post game carnage is also there too. That's what we're hoping. Fingers crossed. Tell me how much damage I did.
I wish it would tell you your own damage and only your own damage. Because
so
the reason they took it out,
4 million. I did 8 million. I carried.
I mean, the reason they took it out is because people were griefing each other and like being toxic about it. And I agree with them. Like, people will get toxic about it, 100%.
Absolutely. Like, oh, you only had 4 million?
Looked at,
God, you're so shit.
If you looked at my day one, King's Fall Golgoroth damage, like I'd get booted. But because of what I was doing, like it helped everybody else do damage. Like I was just making it easy for everyone else. So like,
yeah,
you know, there's always context there, but being able to see everybody's damage, you just grief and troll each other, and like, I don't know. I feel like seeing your own, if you're not in a VC with the people, seeing your own is good enough because now you know where you are. But if you're in a VC with people, then yeah, you can clown each other and whatnot. So
there'll definitely be a bit of that in every single raid group. But
oh yeah,
I mean, it's alright. At the end of the day, a lot of us just want to know because we're curious. We're like, oh, that was good. Did I actually do good damage? No, I didn't. Oh, okay. Maybe I need to get better.
100%.
More Guardian rank stuff.
We'll all figure this out.
Guardian. Yeah, hopefully we all start pretty high. Cause I don't have to learn how to get better. No offense, Joe. Currency display on the character screen, really? How is that a quality of life thing?
That doesn't sound like a quality of life thing.
Wouldn't I want to see all my currency on the character screen because that's the screen I open up, and we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it has some other reason for being there.
I hope there's some explanation there we just haven't figured out yet.
I don't care about the Hawthorne clan stuff. It's nothing.
This is the armor charge stuff. Good. I think we can fly through all this.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff we kind of already talked about, like the new fragments that are coming with like breaches. Brought that up right here. Some deprecated because they no longer are needed. For example, like I was looking through more of this stuff from the Strand video that I was making, and they're basically combining like Grenade, Kickstart, and Bomber into one, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
like I like that. I think that's a cool system where you're kind of always getting like a flat benefit, but if you really want to invest in it, then that's going to cost you your armor charges. And it's like, that's cool. Like, that seems fair. Like, I won't necessarily get 25% now every time. Maybe I'll only get 8%. But if I do want to get that 25, then I need to have 3 armor charges. So it's like, I'm going to build into that and yada, yada, yada. We'd ramble on about builds forever if we kept going.
We'll be here all day.
Yeah, I know. Dude, got me thinking, making that Strand video. More Might Cells. Yep, bye-bye. They're now called Tangles, and they explode. Artifact. If you want to hear our thoughts on the artifact and stuff like that, check out the Quaz episode of our Wendigo Week stuff, because we go through a lot of that and how it might affect the day one, how it's implemented now for builds. We also do talk about the Artifice stuff here, so a lot of these changes, except for a few of the upcoming ones, if you check out our like special guest Wendy Week stuff, a lot of this is covered there if you want. See that
episode 13.
Yeah. Really, I mean, I think for us, the ones that reduce the cost of mods, like for Vandal and I, is going to be probably one of our favorites. But that the casting super makes the other elements weapon damage increase. That is probably the one that we all kind of want to test the most, because that thing could be a lot.
And 6 is asking for a TLDR. We want you to go watch the video, man. You want the whole sauce.
To be honest, I don't know how I'd give a TLDR besides what I just did. I read that, and that's why I kind of said that. So I was like, oh, I'll give a little bit there, like the mod that we think will be good and the mods that we'll like. I mean, ultimately, we just like the fact that we're not going to have to use Unstoppable GL for 7 costs.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I actually, like, hate that mod. Genuinely hate that mod. Because it makes me take off fastball. Like, what the hell, man? Don't take away my fastball.
Don't take away the fastball. We didn't see fastball being a toggle. I will point that out. So, fastball's still a mod in the game. Can't wait for it to be a 2 cost for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Sign me up.
Well, didn't it used to be more? Or was it always 1?
I think it was always a 1.
It was always
to
1?
my knowledge. To my knowledge, yeah.
I wasn't sure.
I don't know. Whenever people talk about, like, oh, I don't use fastball, I'm like, you're crazy, because
you're crazy. Yeah.
Like, not using fastball, you have to look almost straight up, and your grenade has a max distance, right? Like, if you use fastball, you don't have to look straight up, and your grenade can go infinitely further. It's
I mean,
just
if you
better.
do
Like
look
it's
straight
literally
up, you throw it a fucking football field.
exactly
It's so
like
far.
it's literally just a better like grenade throwing distance and everything. Like it's just better. Like without fastball, you have to look up and like arc your nade where to like hit an enemy, right? Whereas with it, you can keep looking at them, look a little bit up, and then you throw it and you'll hit them. Like I just don't understand how people are like, oh, I prefer no fastball. I'm like, you're crazy. Like you're just crazy.
It's literally just worse.
Like it doesn't make any logical sense to me. There's a way to throw this grenade. It's not like fastball makes it so you can't throw it close either. It does both. It does better, everything better. So it's just like it's just the best. I don't know. Like I don't
The
know how people don't
only
understand
time
this.
it's worse is if there's something like in front of you and there's an enemy like around the cover or like below it, and you kind of have to like jump up and throw it down instead of kind of having it lob
Oh,
a
like
little
you need
bit.
more of an arc. Yeah.
Yeah, but that is so rare. Listen, I will say a very comparable thing. Back in the day, we're talking Halo 2, Halo 3 days. Nobody wanted to use the Wraith. You know why? Because the Scorpion was better. You know why? It's because it shot straight and not in a stupid arch.
Yeah.
Gosh, man. I don't know. Moving on. Let's talk about the armor changes. So, like, a lot of these are actually kind of cool, and a couple of these are maybe concerning. Depending on how you look at it.
Capri's is basically just Caliban's.
It's Caliban's with the void smoke.
That's amazing.
And it gives you that,
I love that.
Giving you that true sight instead of you throwing it at your feet and getting it is something that just makes you think more. You kind of literally lay it as a trap now.
Oh yeah.
And I read this and I was like, dude, it's like smoke bomb Caliban's. This is cool. Like I'd actually look and be like, do I have a good Capri's? Because like
I'm not gonna lie, this will actually become a problem in PvP because you throw it on the side. Not only does it ping on the enemy's radar as an enemy, if they pop it, you get true sight, which means you can see them across like the map pretty much with walls.
Yeah.
And you know they popped it. And until they pop it, your melee is coming back infinitely faster, which means you don't need to spec into gamblers. And you probably don't even need to spec into strength. So literally just throwing your smoke anywhere is beneficial. Like you don't not benefit from making sure your smoke is down at all times. That's why this thing is going to be insane.
I think it is a good change. I won't necessarily think it's... Well, it may still be a problem for PvP, but it's not more of a problem because currently if you just throw it at your feet, you gain true sight. And that's a little bit more OP in terms of like snipe peeking.
You control.
Yeah, exactly, right? But this is that a little less control, but still some control. And like I said, laying that trap, I just think it's a cool like concept to like think about.
Oh yeah, and the smoke bomb applies weaken too. You put a debuff on them too. Like it's just this thing's
and they're all just sitting in that little disorienting smoke for a while. Like they're not gonna be able to move really quickly. Get out of it.
And not to mention they run impact induction, and it pops on them. Get some grenade energy back.
Get some
just like that.
Yeah, get some nade energy just like that. Next thing, definitely the biggest one. God, dude. Heart of Inmost Light, reduced duration of empowered ability buffs in PvE to 5 seconds. So that's cut in half. That's the exact same as it is in PvP and Ambit, the hybrid stuff. Reduced bonus class ability and ability regeneration. Jeez. While empowered to 25% per stack. So that's 50% if you're maxed. Down from 150. So that's like a crazy reduction to your thruster or your Bastion Barricade. I'll read this here and then get into my thoughts. This change is intended to decrease how easy it is to get and maintain a 2x empowerment bonus in PvE. Fair, because 2x is a little broken with the current damage changes that they have, as well as reduce the total amount of bonus ability energy provided. The goal for Heart of Inmost Light to remain strong in ability focus builds while giving room for other exotics to shine as well. What other exotics? Titan exotics are so lackluster right now that there's a reason people run Heart of Inmost beyond the fact that it's super strong. It's just the fact that it's good for everything. So you can always... Of course, it's too good. We all know it was too good. I really was hoping that if they did touch it, which To be honest, recently I didn't even think they were, because they're kind of making that game harder, and I'm like, oh, maybe they want to see like how people play with it first and then change it, which I was saying the other day in VC, like, I'd understand that approach. Like, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense with Starfire if they wanted to do that, but we'll talk about that in a little bit too. 5 seconds is insane. If you've ever used it in Gambit, you will know how much worse it is when you only have 5 seconds to throw that next ability. Which, to their point about making the 2x empowerment bonus more rare, okay, I understand that. But why not just make it less impactful and keep the ability cycle maybe a little easier to keep going? Not as easy as it is now, because like I said, 10 seconds is a lot. I think 8 is what I would have loved to see it. I would have understood 7 seconds. 5 seconds is, I don't know. It's still gonna be good for like if you're not running Curious on Arc. I still think it's the best thing. Stasis, you're not using this, you're using Hoarfrost, or even like Synthos if you wanted to. Solar, no. Void, I think you use it on Void still because of how important the Bastion walls are to the Void identity. Strand, I don't know yet. I mean, like, the build I did the other day was with Arma, just so you'd have more grapple melees and grapple grenades. But thinking that Heart of Inmost would also be pretty good, I wouldn't use Heart of Inmost on it now. Only because, like, if you don't have a ranged melee, it's so difficult to get to that 2x on your nade or class ability.
I don't know. I don't have as much of a strong opinion on this as other people, mainly because, what other exotics, but I don't. How many exotics does Warlock have besides Starfire?
No, I mean, it's very similar. It's just that
I
brought
mean,
this up. There you go.
Someone had to take the hit, right? And then also Hunter, they have like Star Eaters and like Cowl, both of which don't exactly do this amount of ability spam, like maybe Spine. And I don't know, to me this just reads, you no longer get to play the game on easy mode by putting a single piece of armor on, because 5 seconds isn't a long time, but with the way they're changing armor mods, this is me just coping on the fact that the armor charge system is going to be really, really nice to smooth out, like, neutral game basically. And and if you build properly, like let's say for nade regen in your armor charge system and you use Heart of Inmost, you'll probably see that, yeah, it's going to be slower. And not to mention Storm Nades did get nerfed, and their cooldown is now higher. It's still going to be a really good just passive exotic. Like, this exotic being applicable to literally any single Titan subclass, like, it should never have been where it was before, in my opinion.
Right,
like this is where it should have started.
Is ultimately, I think, the biggest thing, because Starfire is only one class with one nade, and to the percent value of Titans using Hoyle versus the amount of all Warlocks using Starfire, a Heart of Inmost is used by every class, and most builds are best with that. So understandably, from a data standpoint,
this
way
had
more
to go.
people use it, so therefore it's the most outlier. Obviously, to the people who kind of understand a little bit more of why it's good and why like Starfire is really good, I'm somebody who believes that Starfire is better than 10-second Hoyle, because fusion nades are that strong, as well as Ashes to Assets just giving you infinite wells.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that at all.
To a numbers standpoint, there's so many more people using it, and while not always do they nerf based off numbers, they definitely take into consideration how much somebody or the player base uses one thing, and if it's used too much, then it gets nerfed. I mean, once upon a time, I thought it was kind of funny that pulse nades got buffed again, because
we were pulse nade meta in year one.
We just threw pulse nades everywhere in year one with Armamentarium or I remember the top tree striker, because you start with
two-manning Callus, and the strat was to throw both pulses, run down and shoulder charge a bunch of the dogs, and then throw 2 more. Like, literally, that was the damage strat.
Yeah, and
stack 4 pulses.
So But I totally agree with the armor charge system, because if you compare what we're able to do with the firepower build that most people would be aware of nowadays, and then move that into a armor charge system with, I mean, obviously we haven't seen a full nade build on a Hoyle Titan that's nerfed, so of course this is just speculation.
Yeah, it looks bad. I'm not gonna lie, it looks bad. It looks like it hurts a lot.
The belief is that with all of that, with a fully spec'd out build, fully investing into more nade energy, more class ability energy, so you can thruster more, it won't be as noticeable. Obviously it still will be though, especially in the aspect of the getting to ×2 for more damage, unlike your nades.
Yeah,
but
and
it's still something.
I see, you know, people talking about pulse nades and stuff with Titan, and that's the big one, is pulse nades, you know, getting
Ionic
a buff
traces.
And the ionic traces. And you know, the difference between, to me, like, yeah, Starfire is insane, but Arc Titan literally played the game for you. Like, I'm not kidding. I wouldn't be surprised if I think they did actually. No, they did. I remember people that got lost in the maze in the King's Fall. They made macros to literally do the Heart of Inmost rotation, and the nade would just track, and the jolts kills everything. Like, it literally did not get easier to play the game than Heart of Inmost Arc Titan. Whereas at least with Starfire, you have to look at the enemies, at least. Like, that's bare minimum, right? And so, like, and then, like you said, you can only play Solar, which Solar is the best subclass for Warlock, but
if
you
you're
can
not
only
using
play Solar
on Warlock, then you're probably throwing in terms of doing like the hardest content, and you're trying to be as effective as possible. But at the end of the day, when Bungie's looking at who plays Strikes and Gambit, they're not using Starfire because they're not all on Solar. So
yeah, and you know, again, the big thing is, I wouldn't go full doomer about it. You know, Armamentarium with pulse nades is actually going to be very good, because again, if you build into grenade regen, Armamentarium plus the ionic traces is just going to you're just going to benefit, just nothing but benefit, right?
I will say that is something that, like, now Arma has the more higher floor type of potential. It's just that because of Hoyle's damage buff, that's where it has that higher ceiling if you can make it work. But obviously it's a lot harder to rework. And it's funny, I brought up Hoyle the other day, or Arma the other day, when I was thinking about like the strand builds and stuff like that. It's crazy to think that Starfire, you know, once upon a time in D1, all it gave was a second fusion. That was like its exotic trait. And Arma just gave a second nade. And it's like, wow, Arma's so much better because you can actually use good nades. And what, like 9 years later, Armamentarium still does the exact same thing.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Starfire now
and that's
grants infinite nade regen so long as you're shooting something in an Emperor, as well as giving you 2, as well as having fusions that have been buffed.
That's the same with a lot of exotic. I mean, Claws of Amkara is another one. Like, and I brought this up, I think, with was it Moople and Moople's episode?
Probably.
I think you know, the second charge is almost always slightly worse than just providing some kind of passive benefit, if that makes sense. Like, and I mean, they'll probably never change it because Bungie does what Bungie does, but I think that the only way to really balance the two is, with Starfire, you have to take away the second charge, and when you're in an Emp Rift and you shoot an enemy, you get like a Verity's Brow type timer where your grenade regen is increased greatly. That's it, right? Because, and I think Salt pointed this out, the fact that the fusion nades are based off ticks, like damage ticks. It only takes 5 to get your nade, which is just absurd. Like, they need to up the ticks to like 10 or like 15 even, or just make it just a timer. As
That's
you're doing damage in an Emp Rift, you just get an increased regen. It'll still be a solid exotic,
Starfire,
but it won't be the end all be all answer, you know?
Yeah, you just need it to where you shooting 2 fusion rifle, like, I don't know, bursts into a Hydra isn't gonna give you your full nade that can, you know, kill 80% of the enemies that will spawn, even in a day one. Like that's a little too quick to get one of those things again, even if you're running like high discipline. That's something where it's similar to Hoyle. If you want that max benefit, you probably have to invest more than just putting on the exotic. But ultimately, all this stuff, the biggest point to me is that I do think Starfire will eventually get a nerf or rework, whatever you want to call it. It's just the fact that Hoyle affected everything on Titan, and that was just so much more of an issue than what Starfire is. Even though I think, you know, Starfire and Well's best super in the game, and the fact that it works in a Well probably shouldn't work, you know.
I actually think that they might go after Touch of Flame before they go after Starfire.
Also, sure. I mean, those nades do way
Touch
too
of
much
Flame
damage.
fusions. You're essentially with 2 fusion grenades. You're essentially throwing 4 fusion grenades, right?
Yeah.
Because it does just a second. It just blows itself up again. Like it's the same thing, but just twice. So
And
I think
I'm
they might
pretty
just
sure
go
it has a
after
bigger
that
blast
secondary
radius on
damage.
the
second one is gigantic. It's absurd.
That's where the nuke comes in that kills ads. Like, why is a fusion grenade like good at? Like, it's honestly. I mean, I know we both like Sunbracers. I think it's actually better at ad clearing a group of enemies than a solar nade, which is like, what? The fusion's supposed to be like burst single target. Why is it? So yeah, I agree with that too. Where like Touch of Flame definitely could just get some fusion tweaks. So I think the other nades are fine. Firebolt is, I mean, listen, there's some artifact mods that will help Firebolts, but giving them a couple more.
I think Firebolts. Unironically, I think Firebolts are actually going to be pretty crucial to. I think Hunters. The double Firebolts for Hunters.
Just for more Scorch or what?
Yeah, just for having 2 grenades, more ways to make those little fire sprites. Yeah, just applying more Scorch, which gets you your dodge, which then gets you your melee also. Like, and even Titans to an extent, but I think for Hunters mainly. I know Warlocks obviously are going to keep sticking on fusions, and I know 6 in the chat is, lost his mind because Titans aren't broken, but
He is.
you have to understand Titans were broken for pretty much this entire year. This entire expansion.
Warlocks can't be the second best class. That's not allowed. They have to be.
At any point, someone takes the reins. All right. And the only time where this like the first place, second place, third place even matters is literally day ones. Outside of day ones, you use whatever you want. None of this matters all that much unless you're like actually speedrunning. And if you're actually speedrunning, you're probably doing some other crazy wacko stuff anyways. Right? So
yeah.
I mean,
reason, just going back to like I mentioned how Hoyle. Ruler, don't message me, man. Oh yeah, we gotta watch Velma. Right. He can wait on that. What was I saying? Oh, I brought up how I think it's gonna be best on Void, and that's also just because I think Void with like how much more volatile and Devour you're gonna have. Like, dude, like Devour should be super easy to get now that you can pick up an orb or a void breach. Like, something that's affected by a void. Like, I think if they're volatile, they make a void breach, right? I
think that's a fragment. Yeah, defeating it's like a void debuffed enemy. I think.
Like, you do that, you get the void breach. You have Devour. Now you pretty much have infinite nades as long as you're killing things. That's going to help you always have your ×2 charges. It's just now going to just make everything so much more powerful anyway. Plus you're unkillable with your overshield, plus your Devour. Like, that's it. Like, I think something Void Titan is like right next to Solar Warlock as like one of the best subclasses in the game.
100%.
Even with this nerf, it's just because I think as strong as like Curinades are gonna be, and how strong Starfire is just innately, like the Void rework with the breaches are going to be super strong, and they're really leaning into Devour being like, here you go, everyone have it. So
to answer, and I was going to talk about what Six just asked about what aspects to run. It depends. I know Cruz enjoys running Bastion and Controlled Demolition.
yeah,
I myself, I like Bulwark and Bastion. The Controlled Demolition, the explodey stuff it's nice, but I like, for one, I like using other exotics, so then I like the Bulwark regen. Which
second chance,
it just
baby.
really like it just smooths out the Titan rotation. Like, it actually has quite a bit of self synergy. And if you combo that with Heart of Inmost, it'd actually be pretty disgusting. But
one thing
with
with
the
like
other
the
ways to get
build system
volatile
for like a Bulwark Bastion combo is that, jeez, my voice is dry. Is that with how much more melee energy you're getting, that is just more impact inductions, I think. Or I think that's the right one. I always forget them. But basically the melee to nade energy. Oh, momentum.
No,
that's what it is.
Impact is melee to nade. Momentum is nade to melee, I believe.
Okay, so I'm thinking melee to nade.
Impact induction, yeah.
Yes, because when you have that overshield, you've got the faster regen.
Yep.
So you just throw that out more. That's a way of just naturally getting more nades, right? So,
and if you really want to,
a lot of stuff you could do.
And if you really want to, you could run Bulwark with Controlled Demolition. You just probably have to run Throwing Shield, which most people normally do. And I mean, Repulsor Brace is not a dead perk.
I was gonna say, yeah. If
it's
you
not a dead perk, man.
It sucks you have to use Repulsor Brace, but that is a pretty easy way to pretty much have like a pocket overshield.
Yep.
Which is just a way to then give you that refundability of your abilities. So
yeah,
I think that's enough art talk. You can
just to
finish out.
Top it off, I agree with, I don't know, Zerit said and Six, like you said, with Devour, to me Volatile is just more of an ad clearing thing then, because the healing, you no longer need it if you're getting free Devour.
Absolutely. Right? It's just more about spamming out the nades to, I always think about like those situations with acquisition. Whatever the first encounter's called in Val, because I just remember that in day one, those guys spawn in, and just having a volatile vortex nade was always such a strong thing to have. So when I think about new day one encounters, I don't know, I just always think about that, and I'm like, that would be really good. So it's just better now because I Devour.
Yeah, we can move on to some of these. I think that's good. Less popular exotics.
I know,
but the meat was here.
Things,
the meat was here. We're about to fly through the rest because some of these are like, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, I think you'll find this cool. I don't know if we necessarily thought it was gonna be Sever, but Bombardier's explosion makes the enemies severed that were affected.
I mean, we knew it wasn't gonna be.
They wasn't gonna be the suspend.
Yeah, we knew it wasn't gonna be unraveling because that would actually be broken.
Well, that's what I thought it was gonna be.
I mean, I think I said it was going to be severed.
Well, maybe.
Sever just makes sense.
Sever is, I mean, similar to like the blinding, suppressing,
scorching.
Yeah, I mean, scorching is, I guess, like the damage, the more offensive one versus like the other two. Freeze or slowing, all of those are like the just preventers, like inhibit the ability of the enemy, and Sever is that terminology for Strand more so than being suspended. Like severing is lowering their damage output, very similar to like suppression of suppressing their abilities.
I think that really the only thing that matters here is what fragments do when you defeat a severed enemy.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
To me, if there's nothing really impactful there, sorry, unlucky.
Yeah, I kind of agree because like before I hopped in here and started streaming, as saying a while, it's like, oh, what do I do? Like, okay, I dodge next to a group of enemies, then I wait for it to explode, and now they're doing less damage, and I'm dead because I'm waiting for that effect to happen. I need that effect to happen before, so that I can then jump in there and then do the dodge. Also, you're competing with ensnaring slam. So
Good luck.
property just doesn't really work on
I mean,
strand.
there's a world where it works off ensnaring slam because it eats the dodge.
That would be
And if that was
cool.
the case, that would
a
be
severed
insane.
well, a severed and tangled enemy would kind of be redundant, but in terms of
It's just a
and
bomb.
applying like the effect, it could actually be. But yeah, obviously the bomb damage would be cool too, especially if it caused like an unraveling chain. That would be sick. Chromatic fire, man. Let's go. Yeah, it's gonna explode in green. Everyone cares about that, right?
You know, the great part about that is people are totally going to be using strand weapons, especially strand primaries, right, Cruz?
Yeah, I love
Totally,
that
because
they
strand
do less
primaries are
damage.
totally didn't just get nerfed into oblivion, and totally didn't just get put in the dirt by kinetic primaries with this last patch. That's totally not what just happened.
The strand weapons will have a place if there's something about unraveling rounds as like a perk, kind of like volatile rounds. If they don't have that, then they're pretty much DOA.
Then they're gonna sit in your vault and look really pretty.
Yeah. we'll craft them and throw them in at level 16.
Yep.
Battle harmony, same thing. I mean, that's more just connecting to your super. Verities, I think could be pretty cool, but it kind of does depend on what nade you want to end up using. I think depending how good the threadlings are, you usually want to invest into those since that's like the warlock
the
thingy.
nade.
But I don't know if Verities is great for that, because if you
I think
consuming it, then
does Verities work with unraveling rounds? Remember, you could eat that grenade. You can eat your grenade, and you could get unraveling rounds. So if that works,
like,
then Verities is going to be
×5
really sick,
and then give you death throws as a result of getting the kills. Yeah,
and then you just eat your nade again, and then you just keep recycling unraveling rounds.
You just have unraveling rounds, which are really strong. Like, from what we can tell.
Yeah, if that's the case, then that's going to be really sick because you don't actually have to use a strand primary or strand weapon because the unraveling rounds might do it. Or even if you have to use a strand weapon, I think getting the guaranteed unraveling rounds, I think is worth it in that case. But maybe not for super high level things. We'll have to see, right? It's hard to really gauge that.
Claws and Fellwinters we can kind of hit together because a lot of this I think does come down to like the fact that, you know, when we were talking about strand initially, we were like, man, if the warlock melee was like a charge system or like a one cooldown block and then took like 33% each melee, that would have been so much better because A, your uptime on it's better, and B, you basically can get benefit out of claws. But with this, it's like, oh, claws isn't going to give you any more. Obviously, I mean, you have 3 melees. It's never given you more before for anything.
They might as well have just said, don't equip claws with strand.
Pretty much. It does nothing with strand. Will not provide any benefit. That's what I should say. Fellwinters, I think it'll be pretty decent.
It depends, man. That melee, like against trash, I think it'll be nice to just like throw that thing through a bunch of thrall and like it procs the weaken or whatever. Like, I think that'll be neat. But other than that, I think Fellwinters is going to mainly be a void exotic with the changes to the finisher and the volatile and stuff. That's going to be insane.
Yeah, so like volatile finishers, making them affected by it. That would be a pretty good combo. The strand aesthetic, cool. Yada yada yada.
Why is no backup plan still not updated, man?
Because
this thing is dog.
I don't know. You get an overshield if you shoot somebody with a shotgun. Oh, no, that's actually
insane.
That's the
you have to be on void.
Yeah, that's the void part. Sorry, the normal benefit everyone gets is shotgun kills gives melee energy. That's it.
That's insane to me.
That's it, man. No, the backup plan's got to be one of those. I wish he'd never come back. They're stupid
honestly, like actually, yeah, I agree. All this does is bloat the loot pool.
Yeah, honestly, there's so many
bloating.
Like
when you get to no backup plans, you just delete it. Like there's just no redemption. You just delete it.
When we get the Starfire rework, we're definitely gonna get no backup plans updated.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be every time you shoot your shotgun, it throws a void shield. Just every time you shoot with fourth horseman, you just rapid fire 5 shields.
You do that and you combine like a kinetic shotgun too, and you just go back and forth, just boom 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 boom. What shields flinging out?
Cascade point and Ikelos, that'd be the strat,
dude, that would be insane. Crafting changes, TLDR of all this, which we've covered kind of before, is just that there's no more resonant elements, and you pretty much just have to have your glimmer, enhancement cores, and it's an analysis. You've got all that, then you can craft your weapons.
The weapon damage buffs, we already talked about a lot of these. GLs are going to be a little bit better against bosses, miners by a lot, so using heavy GLs to clear ads. If you get like a GL with chain reaction, don't immediately delete it, in my opinion. I think just go around and try it. Like, it could actually be pretty fun.
Yeah, I have a Wendy with explosive and chain that I am kind of interested to see, because that's kind of a decent versatile weapon where it's actually for those 6 shots plus any more if I want to reload. I'm gonna have just as good damage as anyone else, but then I also have the ability to also kind of nuke ads with a max blast radius chain reaction on 40%. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and machine guns are just better. They're already really good in my opinion, and now they're just better. So definitely don't sleep on machine guns. Although this does not apply to Xeno, I'm pretty sure. I think the damage does, but I know the ammo doesn't. We already talked a little about the kinetic weapons.
Xeno gets nothing actually.
Nothing applies to Xeno.
Grand Overture gets
the damage, and Thunderlord gets both.
And then that's what.
Okay.
I remember if it's
kinetic weapons. We already talked about this. They're just better.
They're just better
than stasis and strand weapons. Like, sorry, unlucky. Certain exotics got added.
Went through in episode 8. I'm gonna guess.
Let me look.
Yeah, it'll be one where we talk about like the weapon tuning and all this.
7 major weapon tuning. 7.
Yeah.
So if you want to see that, I mean, you'll catch me using Two-Tailed Fox
Ignition
constantly.
1K.
That is my go-to.
Anti-champ levy. Sunshot. I think this is funny. Like, reading back on it, I thought it was a lot better than it was. It's like, damn, you need a kill to get 10 Scorch stacks.
Yeah, that's awful. That's awful.
That's pretty bad. Literally, all this is for is just to have the Scorch verb on enemies so that you can get like your class ability back faster.
Yeah.
Like a fire sprite or something like that.
You're
There's
better
no
off
way you're ever getting an
Bane.
Ignition.
Yeah, you're literally better off using Zowie's Bane.
Actually, because incandescent it would be better.
Yeah, and then Polaris. Polaris is actually, I think Polaris is going to be kind of a sleeper weapon in the sense that this thing is just going to be so fun to use. Tons of Scorch applied. I mean, yeah, you're not like one-shotting ads, but that's the point, right? Like, you're procking that 5th. It applies a bunch of Scorch. You proc it again really fast. Boom, everything is blown up, right? So it takes 10 bullets, and you can blow up, like, you spec into ignitions. It's all there, So, but we talked all about this in episode 7.
This was something I didn't know. I didn't know it was doing less damage. But
yeah, that's new.
Neat. Yeah,
I knew the tractor cannon crashing thing. I saw a video of that a while back.
That's funny.
That's kind of funny. You just like super on like a wall as a behemoth, and then you just walk up and like literally before the sound even finishes, you crash.
That's
blowing up all the crystals.
I didn't know this either. Like, you could just overload yourself. Pretty much. That's
you can overload your teammates with Thunderlord.
That's hilarious. Of course,
osmosis.
Like, osmosis.
Might see some use with Verities.
I guess that's true. Osmosis.
You need a good primary. It need to be a really good primary. I can't think of one right now. I mean, I don't know.
It doesn't exist. It's coming. It's coming in Lightfall.
Oh, if you could put osmosis on a wave frame,
kinetic wave frame,
that'd be wild. Although there actually is the chain of command. I think it's chain of command machine gun.
Stasis.
It's a stasis machine gun that you can get osmosis on,
Vandal, so the hope there is that the new stasis heavy wave frame has osmosis. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Because that would be it.
Yeah. Because you gotta build into those unraveling rounds, because otherwise, I mean, Verities is just does nothing for Strand pretty much. Rewind. We'll see where they show up.
Vaulted glass weapons. I mean, to be honest, it's just not.
It's
better than like 4 times or anything like that.
It's like whatever.
Ammo efficiency is more important than.
What would you need to see it on for it to be like, oh, this is like okay?
I don't know, because I think it's on the perfect weapon. It's on Praetus. It's just that Praetus isn't good because it's a rapid fire sniper.
If you saw it on, like, let's say like a rapid fire shotgun, would you be like, this is okay?
I suppose.
What about like a GL?
Like a breach load or heavy?
Either.
Breach load would be kind of crazy.
A breach load would be sick.
Because you'd get a second shot pretty much just for hitting a shot.
But I think
that would actually be so annoying though, because any bets you'd start reloading as it hits the enemy, and you'd have to sprint cancel to not reload and then shoot again. So maybe that would be terrible.
That's a good point actually.
I think if they just make it a little bit more ammo per, so let's say like you hit 10 shots, I think you get like pretty much half right now. If it was like 60 or 70%, maybe it's a little ideal for DPS reasons.
Just looking at my dim really quick here, I can't think of a single like weapon that if it had rewind rounds, I'd be like, this is sick. Like not a single one. Like, I don't know. I just think it's such a like perk, like almost to the point of it should just be a like an origin trait.
Yeah. Eager Edge. Again, we always kind of touch on this. Really, what we think it would be better for is like just general skating, because now you're not kind of capping your movement speed and stuff like that. Disorienting nades instead of blinding nades, only because they just don't want this to be an arc term overlap. Also because of the arc blind unstop interaction. Blinding GLs in their current state, aka disorienting grenades, doing that would be kind of broken. Vice Stinger, this is also broken.
I think skipping down to the danger zone. This is so funny to me. When I first saw this perk, I think I told you about this. When we first saw Danger Zone get introduced, I looked at it and I was like, so you're telling me that when I'm surrounded, I do more blast damage, and that's just going to help me kill myself?
Yeah.
Like,
I believe that for a long time.
Like, I was like, this seems really stupid. Like, the perk didn't make any sense. Honestly, reducing is like, that's a start, but you should be immune. You should dead ass be immune to your own like grenade damage, because then you could run up to things that just straight up like barrel stuff up with ignition code.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That'd be so fun.
Follow thinks the Zen moment stuff is gonna be pretty good for PvP, so I guess if you have a Zen moment weapon for PvP, you can keep that. I have a few weapons I guess I'm willing to try. Wellspring, more the fact that it just works now, multiple charges, actually, all that stuff. Like, I don't know, it pretty much just works now because it's been super buggy for so long.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Wellspring, it's a desired perk now because of the way it describes with multiple charges. Like, for instance, with Strand, Wellspring is probably going to be insane. So definitely don't sleep on any Wellspring weapons.
And then Cascade Point no longer triggers off of non-precision damage against weakened targets. I mean, it's basically like, oh, yellow numbers equals Cascade Point. And now the game knows that its debuffed is not a crit.
And we talked about a lot of these abilities, so we can...
Yeah,
I believe the ability
orbs,
one
a couple
was...
less orbs. I think this is kind of interesting. So, like, Withering Blade is the 3 blade, right?
That's the... I believe that's the Stasis melee, no?
Oh, yes, that makes more sense. Dude, I saw these and I was like, is that what it's called?
No.
Okay, well, that's better.
It's fan of Knives is the thing.
Yeah, there we go. That makes more sense.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was
Funny
like,
that
huh.
they're increasing this just because essentially is a radiant knife.
Yeah.
But it's like nobody ever uses this thing.
Yep. And the weighted went up a lot. That's insane. Like, I think maybe throwing as in PvP became a problem, I guess.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
from Kyros's video.
yeah, that's
Athos's
true.
Embrace, too good.
And withering going down is nice because it's definitely not what it used to be when it first came out. So that's nice.
For sure.
And then the big, honestly, this entire post led up to this moment right here. You heard it first. Fist of Havoc, increased PvE damage by 20%, which means you can now slam the boss 2 times and it's dead.
Yep.
Just like that.
You'll also be out of your super after the 2 slams, but at least it's dead now.
Yes, which means 6 Titans going in. Make sure you wear your Eternal Warriors so you can get in there and be unkillable.
Take off precision hits from the enemies.
Yep.
Dude, it is. I've gotten so many from all these GMs we've been running. I am ready for the Fist of Havoc, Eternal Warrior PvE damage meta.
Yep.
Hammer Soul, kind of like Spectral, which is somewhere. God, it's cooldown reduced a little bit, so there's actually no tier 1 supers anymore. They've just been eliminated. Now they're all tier 2.
Yeah, because you would never seeing the super unless you were popping off.
Yeah, like, even if you were popping off in PvP, is it possible? And then PvE is it's just nicer, you know, more hammers, more good. Yeah. I like using hammers. So
we already talked about a lot of this.
Yeah, pretty much all the same stuff.
That one's new. I think that's funny. Ballistic Slam is really funny.
It basically means that you can't like melee now right after landing. Which is just like, I guess it was a problem in PvP where you'd get like double melee too quick. But like, who uses this?
People that still use Doonies. Dune markers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did for a little bit. I remember that day, or those days, but I don't know.
And they increased the base regen, the base cooldown of
good,
like
man.
Everything though.
Yeah.
And then they reduced shield toss, which is, I think shield toss is the better one. Personally,
shield toss is the better one. It's just not the. It just doesn't have as much damage. Technically,
you know what they need to do though with shield toss? They need to give it the strand hunter treatment in the sense that it bounces on targets and you can catch it and get a piece of your melee back. Because that's truly the shield toss, like
that is the Captain America
like fantasy. Yeah, that's the real fantasy.
That is actually
would be
sick.
Awesome. I would never stop playing. I'm not kidding. I would never stop playing Void.
Void with 2 charges on second chance.
Yeah, that would be freaking awesome.
Captain America shields everywhere. That'd be really sick.
Oh my god!
When you're talking about Hunter melee, I figured you were talking about Withering Blade because of the way it like tracks through enemies.
Oh, but yeah. That too.
The shield toss just like hits a corner and just flies up into the sky.
Yeah, it's one guy and then just boop, gone.
I'm off to space now. Yeah, so
you go straight up.
Literally, I don't know how it does that, but whatever. It is the better melee. Just, I mean, it's good for Hoyle obviously because of that range. I brought that up earlier, and it's just easier to like get benefits out of that versus Shield Bash. Not that Shield Bash is bad. It's just a little more conditional. I think this means they fixed knockout to one-hitting people somehow.
With like Synthos, I think, right?
Yeah, when you're like after yeah, it's like after you get like one.
It's been happening. It procs the spark. It procs that one fragment, and then
you just annihilate them.
Yeah, I think so. Also with Synthos, I think this prevents it from, with biotic enhancements, just going around one-shotting people like full health.
Man, that was great with Striking Light, that mod.
I remember back in the day, what's the map called? Is it Midtown?
I don't know.
The one with the rugs room. I remember very clearly we were playing a trials match. It might have been comp actually. This guy flew into rugs, and I think I was playing with like Frenchie and someone else. He just flew into rugs on a Void Titan back in the day, and he was playing Bubble Titan, and he had Synthos on, and because we were all 3 there at Prog Biotic, he just 2-punched Frenchie, which proc defensive strike, and then he just 1-punched the rest of us. and it was like it was insane. We were just like, I was like completely baffled. Like, there's no way that
Like,
just
how did
happened.
that just happen?
Yeah. Like, we were
That's
full
hilarious.
health, complete. Like, and every time he killed us, it just regen because of defensive strike. So it was just like, what do you do?
Yeah, you just lose. Accept the L.
So, and I heard Salt earlier, kind of glaze over Daybreak there, but I'm a Dawnblade
Did
believer.
he? What did he say about it? We
He
can
said
just
he
skip
said
to
he
it.
said he said Daybreak. Oh, this isn't gonna change anything, and he went over it, and I was like, oh, Salt.
No,
Oh,
because Moogle didn't believe either, and I'm like,
they're not believers, man.
During the episode, I was like, if you had like 3 warlocks, like a third wall is better. And he's like, pretty much, yeah. Like, I don't necessarily disagree in the fact that like it's generally probably easier to get the benefit out of well because you just plant it in the good spot and you're helping everyone becoming unkillable. But I don't know, man. This is what like this is what Fist of Havoc needs. This is what all those roaming super needs. Like, it's the cost per swing. Like, that's really big combined with 25%. Why did this get 25 and Striker got 20? I don't understand. How is Striker 5% better than Daybreak? But whatever.
Yeah,
and
I mean, Daybreak is
cooldown and more orbs. Like, Daybreak got a crazy buff.
Daybreak is going to be with Dawn Chorus, man. And then, like, one thing I'm excited to do, just a quick little tangent, I'm sorry, is I'm going to use those Firebolt mods, the new ones from the artifact. Get double Firebolts, increase Scorch values with Dawn Chorus. And it's going to be so sick because I could just put on double Ashes assets, and just with double Firebolt nades, like, I'm just farming. Like, actually just farming my super. So I think that's going to be one of my not strain related. Obviously, it's not strain related, but this could be one of my, like, probably, honestly, this entire first season builds on my Warlock is Dawn Chorus with the double Firebolt nades.
Hey, and it's buffed too from the surges, right? Solar.
Yeah,
I think it'll actually be pretty. I'm not saying
I
it's
agree.
going to be like better than
It'll be world shattering Earth
or the best thing ever. You know, it's like it's not better than Tether, but
it might just be the second best thing that Warlock has. Unironically,
yeah, I think
besides
it
well,
is. I think it's well, and then this, which is crazy because like it just makes Solar so much better. It's like if you're not running Solar as a Warlock, it's crazy.
And the Phoenix that changed, we talked a little bit about it. I mean, I needs more, but the cooldown reduction from 82 to 55 is wild, and the restoration duration also. Well, you have Heat Rises, which typically you would run Heat Rises if you're running like the Dawn Chorus build or whatever. Like, those two in conjunction with each other is really nice. I will say that. That's really nice. It's a good start, but I think it still needs more.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's easier to extend. It's easier to extend with Empyrean now. So
it'll be, I don't know, it's like it's kind of a neat PvP thing too, just having that uptime on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to beat out Amp and Healing Rifts. Like, they're just so good. Like, they're both so good.
100% agree.
I think the coolest thing here is just Snap. I know it's only 7 seconds, but relative to Celestial Fire, like, that's a pretty big, chunk of time. 29 seconds faster base.
Yeah,
probably get some more Snap usage out of the general population
100%.
now. And 100%. It's not
but
like a bad melee. It's just easier to use Celestial Fire.
Yeah, typically the way I see Celestial Fire is if you're in a group, you run Celestial Fire because you're getting everyone Radiant. If you're by yourself, you should run Snap. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Anything about this you care about?
It's better now.
Yeah.
Moving on.
All right. Kind of can hit these pretty wild. It's weird because it's like, why? I don't know. It's just like, I feel like the damage numbers are kind of arbitrary. It's like, why did this one get it and not like Incendiary Nades? Like, I don't know why Incendiary Nades didn't get it. I use Thermites all the time in other classes. I love Thermites. Solars are also really good. It going to like the arc stuff, probably the most impactful just in terms of the Touch of Thunder stuff. Also Pulse nades are just the play now. Storm nades are so much more stupid than they used to be. Maybe if this was
They're
old Storm
slower.
nades,
They don't last
they
as
would make more
long.
sense.
They do
But
less damage.
This is one of those things where it's like Bungie does like a couple nerfs, like 2 nerfs, and now it's like, yeah, okay, now we're gonna buff the other competitor. Now it's just like a big difference, and it's like I don't know why. Like Storm nades don't need to be like as killed anymore. I think.
I think someone should make the meme of was it James Franco with the noose around his neck, and he looks at he's sleeper, and then Storm nades is the new guy, and he goes first time because sleeper got kicked around quite a bit for no reason.
Man. Forever. It's literally always just...
and Storm grenades is just like now getting the full business right now.
It's crazy how much they've been nerfed.
Yeah,
like I don't know, like, and they're getting a bigger time. Like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. Yeah, pulse nades are good. Lightning nades, I don't know. Like,
that's a weird one. I mean,
they're neat.
There's a world where lightning grenades might actually be insane, because if you can use Hoyle and you get ×2 and throw both of them, I think it should stack, and that could do it. I know. I watched a video a while back talking about lightning grenade damage, and like,
I think so.
It's actually decent. It's actually not
Atheon,
bad.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
The only problem is it can't move, and it's a very tight. It's kind of a tight cone, so like, you can't just like, typically throwing it at the floor on them isn't even like a guarantee. Like, I don't know. There's a whole slew of things. If you can make it work, it does a lot of damage, but that's a big if.
The
solar nade changes are wild.
Termites get a fat increase.
Yeah, I think that's because of spine, but I feel like that's...
But like, if you're not using spine, then now they're really troll.
The other 2 classes can't. So this seems a little, I don't know.
I mean, they could. They just shouldn't.
The other 2 classes can't use spine. Young Crow.
Oh, I thought you were saying trip mines.
Yeah, they can't use spine, which is the whole reason people use trip mines.
I know. This is one of those things where it's like, why did the other classes need to get these nades? It's like, trip mine will only ever be considered on Hunter because of spine. So,
Yeah.
Dude, Sunbracers...
The bracer meta is here!
Because, like, especially with this increase, this will help cut that by, investing into it already. Like, damn, that's good. Thermites are obviously just really good still. Yep. And then incendiary grenades, a lot of Scorch. I don't know. Yeah, like,
people don't realize that thermites apply a lot of Scorch. They are not dead nades by any means.
No, I mean, I use them all the time. I just love the concept of them too. Just like a linear wave, just constantly going up. So easy to like get benefit out of. So, void ones. This is the same thing. It's like void spikes.
Ain't nobody throwing void spikes.
Well, they're 121-second versions of lightning nades, but lightning nades do more damage.
And you get 2 of them on Titan, whereas the other 3 class, I don't think there's anything inherently that buffs void spikes besides the fragment that makes them last longer for void.
And I mean, I guess like weaken nades technically, because it's weakening itself.
Yeah. And void walls getting a 50-second base cooldown increase. That's insane.
Because
people already aren't even using void walls. Void walls are the least used nade because half the time people don't even know how they work, and the other half you throw it down, and because of the terrain, it goes vertically and it doesn't hit anything.
Yeah, it goes 2 inches instead of 30 feet. I used to like using void walls every now and then with Commander Titan, like way back.
Oh yeah, it was so good.
But like, they're just worse thermites, right? Thermites are much easier to use. Void walls, like the sideways thing, 50 seconds. I get they get this, but why are vortex nades getting more damage?
Yep, and they're only getting a 30-second. They have the same cooldown.
They're considered equivalent now, and who in their right mind wouldn't use a vortex nade? Vortex nades with the suck are literally like one of the strongest things in the game.
Yeah, the suck it didn't get buffed last season, or like 2 seasons ago. The suck, I mean, because they get pulled in a lot now. Oh my god, vortex nades are insane.
It was a lot, and then they nerfed it, and then they made it better again. And now it's like
then scatter got nothing.
Nothing.
Same with magnetic.
These are just supposed to be like, okay, they're less damage, but they're more spammy, right? Because it's like, okay, it's a 50-second reduction. So I
Nothing
guess with
manacles,
nothing
maybe? I
manacles,
don't know.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like nothing manacles, okay, you can spam them 2 charges, but like, what are they doing besides the little bit? They don't apply volatile or suppression or any other
Yeah.
verbs that I think they need. I think if they did apply volatile, or at least
The
maybe nothing manacles makes them do that.
the only thing that makes sense is if you're doing some kind of damage glitch with scatters, like back in the day on dogs,
Hmm.
or you're using controverse with magnetic grenades on Void Warlock with Chaos Accelerant, because that could potentially become a. I mean, you can't physics people now, which means if you did that with Warlock and like let's say PvP, you would just hit them against the wall, they'd be one shot, and you would just shoot them once with like an SMG or something, right? But in PvE, I'm not sure you can push anything with it. Didn't they buff that over the charge nade though? The like, what was it called? The original Nova Warp melee or grenade.
It's the magnetic chaos accelerant thing.
Yeah. I don't. They buff that against like champions. Didn't correct me if I'm wrong. Some handheld supernova. Yeah.
Yeah, handheld supernova. Yeah, I think so. Against like champs, they
They
got like
buffed it
20%.
so like this could, in a very, 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 very niche world, see some use.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I don't know. I guess magnetics are faster, so you could get more of the.
And you get more.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
It
Not
is what
using
it
it,
is.
so
Nobody's
moving on.
using these. You will only ever use these nades. I don't know why they got damage. They should have gotten less damage, if anything.
If you're using any of these other nades, you're insane.
This is another reason why I just think like Titan with Hoyle is still gonna be super strong, because it's our nades are just better. It's like,
yep.
Okay, cool.
We already talked
Dust
about a lot of
fields. Yeah, I mean they're super quick, so I mean they need a little bit of a 64 seconds a little too. We went over all this stuff as well. I mean, it's just going to the game. A lot of this stuff is gonna be really good.
There's the anti-champion stuff. We already cleared all that.
It's crazy how much there is now. I'm pretty sure I have a graphic in the dugout, in the Destiny channel that shows like what.
And the shatter, it says the shatter damage now stuns. I think that means that if you were to use a headstone weapon on like an ad next to an unstop, and you blew up the crystal, I think it'll unstop it. I'm pretty sure.
So I think headstone, it's any sort of stasis explosion. Yeah,
so headstone might not be the best option, but it's still viable, and also that just makes things like glacier nades and Hoarfrost Z, also like kind of anti-champ type deals. Like shatter dive, I love shatter diving in PvE personally. I really do.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, shatter diving, stunning unstops, that's just sick. I love that.
Weekly powerful rewards have been removed from the throne world and added to New Moon.
Thank God. Throne world sucks.
Bye, Finch. It does. It really wasn't that great.
We talked about this a long time ago. I mean, but we weren't recording back then. But basically, like Throne World, what it was missing was this way to interweave all the areas besides the overworld, because everything's spread out, right? You got to all these little niche areas, but what it needed was kind of like the moon treatment, where you can go under into the underbelly of the moon and everything sort of connects, kind of. Like, that's what I think the Throne World needed, because when they make these maps where you just go hard left into another area and then more hard left and you're in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, okay, now run back, and it's like, why? Like, why do this to me?
Yeah, okay. Well, I will just leave. I'll go to the
let
tower.
me just go to a load. Let me go to fast travel and then just run back. Like, oh man, I don't know. I think that's just a big missed opportunity.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that Neomuna is like better,
mm-hmm.
more like Europa, but like also with more.
Europa sort of suffers from the same thing, but
it just didn't have like the exploring areas as available to us. I think like the Throne World had like a lot of that cool like extra areas. It's just like you never would want to go there.
And there was nothing there too when you went there. They were just empty. Half the places were just completely empty. It was just like scenery.
Yeah,
like, I mean, the scenery is cool.
Just there
for
the story missions. Yeah, I mean, focusing, another thing we touched on, no more umbrals, seasonal engrams, yada yada yada. Go get your Wendigos from there.
The key
Since
at
you
the
didn't get lucky.
box at the end of this seasonal thing.
Yeah. It's decent changes and stuff like that. Make sure you open the chest at the end of the activity! Exclamation point. We don't want people just assuming they can get it. So that, you know, I think these are all like changes. Sad days for all the team killers.
The best was when Cruz would get eager edged by someone, he would just go silent. And you would just hear silence out of Cruz for a little bit, and then out of nowhere you would just get eager edged into a wall and Cruz on a rampage. Like everybody was like, if one person killed him, everybody paid the price. Everyone paid the price.
That is kind of true.
No one was safe.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm plotting my revenge. Everyone's gonna feel my wrath.
That's just how it went. I mean, in our raids, there's definitely a lot of us trying to kill each other with eager edge, or just like block each other, like just I don't know, we're just trolling, or you're like Salt and you're just AFK in general. So
yeah, I think launches will be really cool to see with this. Now that you could throw a teammate into a wall that's like slightly slanted, and they will just go up into the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, but right now people use Icarus to like avoid the collision damage,
Icarus,
and then get that clean bounce.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the Gauss speed is full of that. So,
dude, the Gauss speed's really cool to watch.
Shout out speedrunners, because we like watching speedruns every now and then.
They're cool, man. Some of the chat to come up is really cool.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. Some more, I don't know. I was gonna say like more players get into it. I don't know.
Listen, if you get into speedrunning, please just don't be a piece of shit. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, like, pretty much.
There's so many speedrunners that just are completely ego boosted like maniacs. Like, we get it. You can do a lost sector really fast. I'm proud of you. I'm sure your parents are proud of you. I'm sure everybody's proud of you. Like, but I don't know. You just don't have to be a friggin' awful human being as a result.
Couple other important changes. Ghost projections. Yep, they are now strand colored. Good to remember for the new PvP game mode that Vandal leaked the other day in my voice channel that you guys don't know about, but it'll be here one day. A secret ghost projection crucible
battle. Ghost projection battle.
Dude, that'll be sick.
This is pinnacle right here.
And no more or the German Ichor is different. Sorry, Numley. Sorry, Mango.
Unlucky.
I hope you weren't partial to the German voice actor. With that all being said and done, that's it. We're ready for Lightfall now. We did it all.
Now we
play
Scribbly.io. And then we just wake up really early, sit in queue for 3 hours.
I was gonna ask, what do you think? What's your over under? 3 hours?
I mean, servers have been really unstable, man. Like, even just last night, we all got air code at the same time. Remember the Calabrese? Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I was just baiting you all. I didn't actually get it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just in the lost sector. I was like, I got air coded.
I mean, 3 of us got it. And we weren't even in activity together.
Yeah, you and then the GM farmers.
Yeah,
got it at the same time.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought that was crazy. It could have also been a region thing, maybe. I don't know. But
maybe.
You know, I'm thinking I'll play the safe bet and just say 2 hours. 2 hours.
Oh, minimum. I was gonna say 2. Oh, all right, good. Great minds think alike. Oh no, I don't know if I want to think like Vandal.
No, you don't want to at all. No.
Cursed.
Let's just say I've been throwing sun bracers at the ceiling since before it was cool.
Even before the embers were dropping.
Yeah, true. Before Solar 3.0.
Man, you and Curse of Osiris, you're throwing them. You'd go into the Infinite Forest and try to find ceilings to throw it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, good times. Well, that's a wrap on the last free Lightfall episode. So you guys will hear back from us. I don't know. We don't really have like a schedule anymore, which is, I guess, kind of good for us, but also bad because we don't know when we're gonna post it. I imagine Tuesday and Wednesday we'll be doing stuff. So I would say just expect one out by Friday.
At the latest,
because we want to like we might want to wait to get a little more info. I don't really think the TWAB is gonna have a whole lot because I mean we already even know a little bit about the raid.
It's gonna be like welcome to Lightfall, yada yada. So.
Yeah, I hope Guardians are making their stand on Neomuna and fighting the Witness. So yeah, it'll probably be more like what our first impressions are like. And
are you gonna try and get that? You're gonna try and get the armor charge like breakdown video?
Yeah, I think it's realistic for me to get out the second day, only because I think the first day I'll just want to keep playing, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I just have a plan to kind of break down the armor charge system to make it easy for you guys to understand, because I know it's going to be a lot to think about right away, and making builds is going to be I think it's going to be pretty difficult the first day, but then I think by the second week, once we kind of have a little bit more understanding of how things work, then it'll be good for you guys to have that kind of video to refer to. So yeah, I think that'll be let's say Wednesday. Yep. And then yeah, hopefully Lightfall's good.
And as for me, keep an eye out. I will probably not post anything. I may post more
baits on Twitter.
Yeah, that's true. I may make some meme videos. So keep an eye out for that. I might expose Salt again for the third time. I don't know.
Yep. Make sure you follow VANDAL for the next Salt cheater scandal or something like that.
Yeah. That's my whole purpose in life.
Really? That's what it's boiled down to.
Pretty much.
All right. That's, I can respect that. All right. That'll be it for the video. Thank you all for listening, for watching. Thanks for being here in the live stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It's nice to have a little chat to work with, so we appreciate that. And we will see you in the next episode.
See you.